Someone's always coming around here, trailing some new kill.
Hey, this is TC McCarthy, author of Germline, Exogene, and Chimera, and I'll put links to all those books below. Welcome to my channel. If you have time, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, I'm going to put a link here to the channel's homepage so that if you can spare a few bucks and want to donate to help keep this content flowing, I'd really appreciate it. Go to my homepage, there's a button on the right that says support this channel. That's it. Enjoy the video. Begin transmission. Hey, welcome to this week's installment. There's a problem going on in the US military, and one of its most beloved aircraft is about to be canned. And that's a real problem for a lot of people, especially troops on the ground who have come to love the kind of support they get from this particular aircraft, and which right now can't really be duplicated. What's the aircraft I'm talking about? The A-10, otherwise known as the Warthog.
This is the A-10 Thunderbolt II, better known to its legions of fans as the Warthog. It is essentially a flying cannon providing 30 millimeters worth of American air power.
So this is obviously the business end of the 30 millimeter. Here are the rounds right here. So this is the casing for the round, and these are actually, they stay within the gun because if you were to spit these out, like a lot of times other guns will, so much ballast and the center of gravity of the aircraft will come off so much that you have to keep it in. A normal combat burst is what we call it. It's a 2-second squeeze. So with the gun spinning out, that's around 112 rounds for 2 seconds. With the amount of rounds that we have, which is 1,100, I guess about 9 trigger pulls of useful, I guess, combat damage that we can provide. But then we also, at the same time, too, can carry a pretty incredible assortment of different weapons between the Maverick missiles, precision-guided munitions, rockets, illumination, stuff we can use at night, and all different sorts of stuff they're constantly building upon in the Hog. But the gun is still the most I guess, effective, flexible weapon we have.
Not exactly the most attractive aircraft ever developed and fielded by the US military, but quite possibly one of the most effective. So let me just give you some quick facts about the A-10. I think it was first produced during the 1960s, or at least conceived of during the late 1960s, when in the Vietnam conflict, or in the Vietnam War, ground troops and the Army and Marines recognized that the fast attack fighter jets that they were using for ground support roles were just too fast. And they couldn't, because they were that fast, they couldn't get good locks on their targets on the ground. And there was a propeller-driven craft at the time that was being used, but that was kind of dated and slow, and the military really needed something better, and that's when the A-10 was born. Production started in the 1970s, and this aircraft was basically built around a particular gun, a 30 millimeter Gatling gun with depleted uranium bullets. Those bullets can go through armor, they can cut through trucks, vehicle, anything. And if you're hit with one of these bullets, forget it. I mean, you're basically dead. In addition to that, the A-10 can, I don't know the exact number, but the A-10 can loiter over a target for a very long time. So if you've got a platoon or a squad that's pinned down and cut off, the A-10 can just circle around and keep shooting the bad guys for a very, very long time until it runs out of ammo.
Yo.
Oh, thank you.
They ain't alive no more. That's... There's nobody alive anymore. Yeah.
Red actual, 3 actual.
Yeah.
Roger, we tally all impacts. Did not impact either of the compounds, the west or to the east, only the tree line, over.
In addition to the Gatling gun, it can carry a butt ton, that's a technical term, a butt ton of bombs, ordnance, Maverick missiles, you name it. It can carry anything, and it can carry a lot of them. The wings are straight and fixed. The plane was designed, and that gives it a good lift to carry a big, heavy load. Of course, it's kind of slow, but in this case, we want a slow aircraft. They're designed to lose one of their 2 tail sections. They can lose half a wing. They're almost indestructible. The cockpit itself, the pilot is protected by a virtual tub of titanium armor. So he's protected, he or she is protected from small arms fire. And the engines themselves are placed in the rear high up, so that if it's operating off of a short forward airstrip, it doesn't get damaged by dirt and debris that might get kicked up as it's taxiing. And it also gives a little more protection from ground fire, the engines. This plane was virtually designed and produced for one role, and that was to protect the ground fighter.
Flying out of Bagram Airfield, the pilots from the 354th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron have had plenty of opportunities to bring the firepower of their A-10s to the aid of Afghanistan's ground forces. It's a job they take pride in, and one they don't mind putting in extra time doing.
At the end of the day, when we find out that no friendlies were injured, or knowing that we were able to protect them and keep our bros alive, that's probably the most gratifying part.
Talking about man, cops taking indirect right now, over.
It's like cops taking indirect. Hey, I need more fucking 240, dude. Careful, the other one, it's like Dallas. 100.
Got eyes on hog. Hot.
Birds we love.
Someone's always coming around here, trying something new.
Nice.
So what's the problem? Well, the Air Force wants to get rid of it. There's not a lot of money these days in the military, and the Air Force really needs to cut back on certain programs, and the A-10 is kind of ripe because it's so old. And they don't have a replacement for it, and that's the problem.
Top Pentagon officials now say the Warthog's days are over. They want to eliminate the entire fleet and save $3.5 billion over 5 years. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel told reporters yesterday that money could be better spent on newer, more capable and survivable aircraft.
The A-10 is a 40-year-old single-purpose airplane originally designed to kill enemy tanks on a Cold War battlefield. It cannot survive or operate effectively where there are more advanced aircraft or air defenses.
But service personnel up and down the ranks told the NewsHour the A-10 is unique.
I've sort of found a soulmate, so to speak, in the A-10.
Marine Corps Major Daniel O'Hara, who led a platoon in Afghanistan, says the Warthog scared the Taliban.
The psychological effect it has on the enemy, I think, is pretty clear. And I also think it has an equally positive psychological effect on friendly forces. You see that aircraft come on station, you know what it's capable of, you know that the enemy on the other side probably doesn't want to mess with you while that's in the air.
We're outraged by the Air Force's latest attempt to kill the A-10.
Pierre Spray helped design the Warthog in the late 1960s and 70s. He says it was built to do more than destroy Soviet tanks, and that its uniquely tough airframe made it more survivable and capable than alternative aircraft. He says those newer planes cost much more to fly. He and other A-10 supporters mobilized to save the plane at a recent conference in Washington, D.C.
You're trying to buy extremely expensive airplanes that cause you a much worse financial problem, right? And you're canning the cheapest airplane you operate, right? And saving a trivial amount of money.
The A-10 needs your help. Save the A-10. Write your congressman, tell them no to stopping the A-10. Tell your congressman or woman that we need the A-10 fielded for a long time, or at least until something better comes along. And get involved, because right now there are troops on the ground whose lives depend on having the A-10 fielded and ready to go to come to their rescue. This has been T.C. McCarthy, author of Germline, Exogene, and Chimera. Buy my books, please. I'm also out in a recent anthology, a military fantasy anthology called Operation Arcana. I'll put the links to all of this stuff below. Please click like, please click subscribe. Stay tuned. The next episode is going to be how Christians in certain Middle Eastern countries are treated. I think I'll start off with Pakistan. Thanks for watching.
Trying now,